Hello. Welcome to the weekly wrap up. Another Monday, another slow market. It has been so incredibly slow. So I'm sure there's money somewhere and it's all waiting for whether we get like tariffs all like shut down and like go away, and FOMC this month is a big one. So it's going to be huge. So if we start seeing that Tether just printing, we know that we're going into the next phase of the bull run. So I'm hearing kind of like people sort of chattering, and we know in trading they run algorithms. So there's a couple of different algorithms that could be at play. So, and I'm hearing somebody say, I've heard quite a few people say maybe it's a 2017 algorithm. We're just sort of pushing up to December. So wouldn't that be ideal? So just keep that in the back of your mind the next time Bitcoin dips, and, you know, maybe buy the dip, because there's a couple of different patterns that we're kind of looking at for BTC at the moment. And I'm going to jump into those charts rather than just chat to you all day. But good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good lunch day, depending on where you are in the world. And we are live here on Getting Started in Crypto on YouTube and, of course, on X. And we are here because of Femex. So they sponsor the weekly wrap up. And don't forget, if you use the referral code, head to gettingstartedcrypto.com and check out the free signals. They're free when you sign up with Femex and use the referral. So it's such a good deal. And every month you'll see the results published, and we're killing it on those scalps. Not every trade's a winner, but not every trade needs to be a winner if you're using the correct money management. So, you know, when people are going, oh my God, you know, there's a few stop losses hit, that doesn't matter in this market. It's all whether your wins are outpricing your like losses, and how that works. And we're still killing it over at Getting Started in Crypto. So let's get started and let's jump into these charts and see where we're sitting. So I'm going to start today with the total. So this is the total crypto market cap. We can see that we've crossed my magic pivot, and we're sitting at the resistance at the moment. So there's a couple of charts that are just sitting at resistances at the moment, and potentially what that looks like is A, B, C, D, E, something like that. So we don't always get the E wave. So this could be very well the start of a new impulse, and we're going up from here. So it's very ambiguous at the moment across the board, because we don't know what is happening with that FOMC. So we could have one wave, we could be in the second wave at the moment, and then heading up for those next waves. So potentially that's what we're looking at for the total. You know, if we start to get those tether prints, then that's what we're going to be looking at. The total 2 as well has been retesting this support, broke down, has come back up, retested it beautifully. Now this looks to be complete. So we've had quite a big dip here. So this is the total crypto market cap minus BTC and Ethereum. So it's looking really, really good. So we might start to see some like alts move over the next week. They're really getting oversold again. So it's at that kind of point when the market where we're going, okay, this is potentially going to happen. The DXY has hit my magic 96.5 this week, and it's had a small bounce. Now, the next pivot for this is at 98.33. So I'm going to put my magic pivot line on there and keep an eye on that, because if we break that region, literally that's our area where this is potentially going the other way. So if we hold below that region, then BTC and the whole market is looking really good. So DXY, as I've always explained, it's a seesaw, and depending on if the DXY is going up, BTC is usually going down because it's paired to USDT. So just keep an eye on that. And the other chart that I want to look at, traditional markets, the S&P. So we've just hit a hard resistance. So this is very much correlated with Bitcoin at the moment. So this region here is the same as we've got this like space just above here on the BTC chart. So doesn't want to load up that one. Let me see if this will load. There has to be one chart that doesn't load. So this is sort of taking us within this free air at the moment, within this channel. Now, this is really interesting for BTC. It's literally just crawling along this channel, dipped out a little bit, and it is back in and crawling. So if this dips out, it's broken the pivot as well. So if this dips out, it's got on the 4 hour, the 100 and the 200 sitting below 106,500. That's potentially the safety trap there. We don't want it to break down too much because we're kind of over the top. Now, as far as the pivot's concerned, if this is the next impulse for this wave, it must hold 105, 200-ish, depending on which exchange it's on. So that's what we're looking for at the moment. But ideally, we want this channel to hold, and we want this to continue up. This channel can take us right to about 120,000, maybe even more if it just kind of meanders up like BTC has been doing. It's just been a slow grind at the moment. We can see that, you know, if it continues, we're sitting at that 125, and that is the region we're looking at on that BLX in this region. So sort of between that 120, 125. So that's all our free air at the moment. There's not a lot of Bitcoin on exchanges. There's lots and lots of OTC deals in the background that is taking away all of that Bitcoin. So when there's low liquidity in the market, obviously the markets move faster. So when it does start moving, it's going to really start moving. But when that is, we don't know. It's just kind of meandering along. So I'd be watching that pivot at the 105, sort of 200-ish, and just checking in on that at the moment. I would really love that channel to like hold. That would be the ideal pattern for BTC. Ethereum has had this really ugly channel it fell out of. It's dipped back in. Now it's crossed the pivot as well, which is nice. It does look like it's going to sort of sit there for a little bit. ETH BTC pair should come up to about 0.246. That's the resistance in that region. And ideally, we would like it to get to the 2621 mark. And that's the next resistance going up. But it has been trading in between the 100 and the 200 MA on the daily. Now, if we drop that back to the 12-hour, we can see that we had a cross. We're still sitting really tightly in the 100 and 200. So this is starting to look more and more bullish by the day for Ethereum. So maybe Ethereum might move before BTC does. Just Ethereum. Occasionally it does. And, you know, there's a lot of marketing, a lot of news about Ethereum at the moment. So just keep an eye on that. I've got some low-level trades in that with some very tight tight stop losses. So it does look like Ethereum might have a bounce soon. And that's showing on the ETH BTC chart as well. So just a few quick alts because they're pretty ugly at the moment as well. These are ones that I looked at last week. So this is so Sonic, it's just sitting sideways, came up. This is a signal in it getting started in crypto, came up, hit the target one, and is now back in the buy zone. That often happens until we get some momentum. So depending on what the FOMC does over the next couple of weeks, depending on what tariffs do over the next couple of weeks, that's going to depend whether we see more liquidity come into the market, those tether prints, that sort of stuff happening. So yeah, just really super quiet. And it's beginning to feel, with all the regulations coming in, it's really beginning to feel a lot like the stock market. And going back to those days where, you know, you don't have to be watching the charts all the time. You can go about your normal life and do all of that sort of stuff, unless you're scalping. And then, you know, there's plenty of opportunity on the lower charts for scalps. Solana. Now, this is an interesting chart. So if you have a look down here, it's come back down, retested this. Could have one more retest down to about 149. Might be a good idea to have some cheeky orders in that region. If BTC falls off a cliff, obviously it's going to come back down to that sort of 134 to 142 range down in this region here. I'm not too sure BTC is falling off a cliff. I'm seeing lots of people talking about BART patterns. That's always possible. If the market, so if we go back to the BTC chart, if the market doesn't see an interest rate cut and potentially, like, you know, tariffs don't go the way they should, those negotiations fall through, BTC can see 80,000 down here. So, and that's our BART pattern complete. Now, if everything else goes to plan, tariffs all settle down, the interest rates, we get a cut, then BTC is going to see that test at that 125. So we're still sitting very much right in the middle. So that's kind of why alts are looking like they've got two patterns. And so alts could be either in a B wave or they're in a second wave. And, you know, that then determines whether we're going up or down, obviously. So this is SWE again. We've seen quite a nice bounce. It came back down to that buy zone within getting started in crypto. Now, it still does look like it's got a little bit left, and I would say it's going to retest that 200 MA. So probably might get to about 3.3 for SWE over the next week. It's starting to like pull back on the and getting a lot more sell pressure at this point, but it's in a mid-level sort of range here. So, and that does mean direction could go either way. So, and I know that's not what you guys want to hear, but with Elliott Wave, when we get to these corrective phases, we do need to look at those pivots and those Elliott Wave breakpoints. And when we're sort of, you know, breaking through those, we're like, okay, cool. We've got the next pattern. And at the moment, we're sort of sitting in between two patterns on many charts. Another one that we're sitting in between two patterns is XRP. So this could be our A. We could be in a B and coming back down for a C. Or this could be like a really, really, really messy WXY complete. And we're now in an impulse. So that's kind of what we're sitting at. So at this point, you want to be sort of, you know, looking at, okay, what are my long-term goals here? Am I a hodler? Am I a trader? Am I scalp trading? Am I just going to sit on my hands until we get direction? So they're kind of your options at the moment. For me, there's always a trade, always a trade. And, we've got several trades open at the moment within Getting Started in Crypto. And we have almost daily scalp trades. And, G6 signals in there is killing it. So that's kind of what the market is looking at. And, if you do want to participate in those FEMX free signals, jump on to Getting Started in Crypto, click the link, fill out the form, sign up to FEMX using our referral code, and that will get you those signals. And yeah, it's just, okay, we're sitting on our hands, we're doing the scalps or what we're doing this week, but we'll still be around. I'll still be on Twitter. I'll still be on everywhere. And if you need some help or you've got some questions, jump on there, give me a shout. Or if you're in Getting Started in Crypto, jump into the chat. I'd love to see more of you in there. I know it's super quiet at the moment. So, and, you're probably all enjoying life, which is nice. But yeah, so a nice quick one. Not a lot happening. If something does happen with BTC, I will update you all with a chart on Twitter. And yeah, oil as well. I've been watching that chart and it's just sitting on that pivot line. So we don't have a decision there either. So essentially, when we get that decision, we're going to know with oil, we're going to know with the VIX, and we're going to know the S&P, whether it's rejecting this week and whether BTC is rejecting that resistance as well. So that's kind of what's happening. It's going to be another slow one. So yeah, but I will see you on all the socials. Thanks for watching, and I'll be here next week. Catch you soon. Bye.